In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create a custom design on our ticks. As you can see here, we have this nice rounded border shaped item around every single tick with a nice color. So let's start to explore how to do this. First of all, make sure you have the border template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. This link you can find as well in the description box. Once you're on here, copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, want to have the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page. And of course, got a question, join the chart.js Discord channel. All the links are in the description box. So what I'm going to do here is a few things. First of all, I would like to change the font here, make it a bit bold or bigger in font, and have a bold design. So to do that, we go here and we're going to say here on the X scale, say comma, and then what we want to do here is specifically the ticks. And in the ticks, we can say here the color. Let's make this gray for now. Later on, I'll change that. Let's save that. Refresh. Alright, I don't know if that's any difference. Doesn't matter. What I want to do next is the font. And we say here specifically the weight. This will be a bold font design. Refresh. It's nice and bold. And finally, let's increase the size of it. So say your size, and let's say 20 pixels. There we are. So we have this nice thick font now. What I would like to do the next thing is give it a color, or at least the border should have a color where we're going to fill up later on. Everything here is this nice color. So for that, I'll just grab any color here. In this case, this will be the green color that I grab here. And then I'm going to say here, comma, border. And then we're going to say here, color of the border. It will be this. Let's save that, refresh. Alright, maybe you see it, maybe not. Let's give it a thicker border width. So we're going to say here the width of the border will be equal to 3 pixels. Save, refresh. And let me see here. I've noticed that it is not really working. My bad. So the reason why it doesn't work is I'm in the ticks. The border is a separate object or namespace. So what I need to do here, comma, put it in there, and then everything will work accordingly. There we are. We have this nice thick border here. Beautiful. So what I want to do next is start to create this nice design here covering these labels. To do that, I need a custom plugin here. Say comma plugins. This is an array because you could have more than one plugin. And then we're going to say here scale design. Copy this. And then what I'm going to do here is create this scale design plugin block as a constant scale design. And then I'm going to say here the ID will be equal to scale design. And then what we will say here is before, and this is very important, we're going to draw it before we draw the scale tick labels. And that will be done before draw. Before we draw this, chart, arcs, and plugin options. Although I will not use the last two. We're only going to use the chart. Then what I'm going to do here is an object. Destructuring from the chart object. I'm going to say here I need the CTX. I probably need the scales, specifically the X scale. So we get the X coordinates of these items here of every tick. So once we have this done, what I need to do here is do a console log. And I'm going to say here the X, and I'm going to show you which item you would need. You can see immediately it will give us information that this is a category scale. That is correct because we just have text here. These are no variables with any kind of linear measurements. So what I want to do here is you can see here the bottom. That's the very bottom here. That's the 360. That's the bottom. We can see here even the height of this is about 38 pixels. We can see here the left position would be that. And we can see here all kind of information. However, what I need basically is the bottom or this top here. So if I scroll down, we should see here the top. We get here the ticks value, and I'm going to use a trick for this. But what I also need is the width from this bar, or from this side of the bar all the way to the other side. I'm going to show you another trick for that. So let's start to do another console log. I'm going to say chart dot get get data set meta index 0, because we only have one data set anyway. And then we're going to say here, we're going to put in the data, and we're going to get here the data point index 0. By doing this, we are getting all the information of this red bar. index 0 data point. However, what I need is only one single piece of information, and that is, if I scroll down here, well, you can see here, basically we have here the coordinates. I guess we could use even this coordinate here, which is the exact center. I think that would be nice as well, but what I truly need is the width. This width here will help us out later on, because this indicates that the width of this bar from this point all the way to the other point, over to the other side of the bar, is almost 70 pixels, 69.18. Alright, let's start to draw our item here. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to say here dot width. I'm going to say here, this will be a constant of bar width equals to whatever we have in here. Let's do that. Secondly, what I will need eventually is the width, but since the point here is exactly the center, I need to know how many pixels is the half of this width, so we can go from this point 50% to the left, and from this point 50% to the right. That will be later on very important. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to say here half bar width is equal to the bar width divided by 2. Very simple logic here. So now what I want to do is start to draw the item. I'm going to say ctx.begin path. So we're going to create a shape that is independent of anything else. Then what I need to do here is I need to draw the starting point. I'm going to say here move to. Then I get the x and y coordinates. So we need to figure out what is our x coordinate. Basically our x coordinate should be here at this point, and then here at the very top of the scale. So we know, at least for the y position, I need to say x.top, because that is the coordinate of this top here. But now I need to figure out the x exact position, that is basically this side here. And how to do that? Well, what we can do is the following. There's multiple options, and we can get here the x coordinate of that. I guess that's fine as well. So we do, that's probably even better. So what I'm going to say here is copy this. The x will be, let's copy all of this, dot x. And then what I want to do, well, let me just put it in here for now. What I want, and the reason why I'm doing this, I want to just draw something so we have a visual. So what I'm going to do here, another move to line, or not a move to, but a line to, because the first one is what we call the starting point. Line 2 is the connecting point that will draw a line from the starting to the next point. So here, what I will do, instead of the top, I will say here bottom. So that will mean that we're going from here down. And then I'm going to say here ctx.stroke to draw this specific line. Save that, refresh. And as you can see here, it is working at the exact center. So you understand, if we start at this point, we need to move it halfway. So what I can do here, half bar, we'll say here minus the half bar, and this one minus the half bar. So now we get the right position. Alright, so once we have this, I can go here and then there. So to do that, I'm going to grab this. And then I'm making it right now a rectangle. Later on, I'm going to make a curved line. So don't worry, we were going to cover that as well. So here is the same logic, except here we do plus of the half. So we're moving to the other side. There we are. You might see that it's being more narrow, this line. And the reason why is we're almost outside of the canvas, as you can see here. So what is happening? The line is probably being clipped off halfway. So to make that a bit more fancy, I could say the following. I want to deduct it with 1 pixel on the bottom. That's here. So we say minus 1 pixel here and minus 1 pixel there. So we get this a bit more thicker. Then what I want to do, going up, just copy this. And there we are. So then what I will do here is, this is plus, but then this of course will be top. Save, refresh, there we are. Finally, I could say here ctx.close path. And if I do that, it will create a connecting line from here to here, but you will not notice this. But if I change this to a fill shape, it will fill up that entire item. Alright, so that's the first one, but this is not what I really want. I want this curved line here, because I want to make these border radius at the very top curved as well, or something like that. So how do we do this? So to do that, I need to change my strategy of drawing the lines here. Specifically, these two lines are going to be adjusted. So let's start to do that. So what I'm going to do here is the following. We're going to say ctx.arc, and what we're going to do here, we need the x coordinate, the y coordinate, we need the radius, that will be the rounded starting point, or how many pixels we're going to have the rounded border, and then we have here the angle start, angle end, and then counterclockwise, yes or no. In this case, I will need counterclockwise. Very important, and I'm going to explain later on why. So we have this. So let's say here, I'm going to assume a 10 pixel radius. So I'm going to copy here this, and let's remove all of this excess code that we don't need. Because a constant radius equals 10 pixels. So we have that. Secondly, I need an angle. So as a constant angle, and this will be very useful for later on, math.pi divided by 180 degrees. The reason I'm doing that, because 1 pi is a half circle, and later on we need to calculate our exact starting point. That's this point here. So then we have to basically make a 90-degree angle in the counterclockwise direction. Very important. So what I'm going to do now, once we have this, we can now start to fill up gradually the items. So what I'm going to do here now is this x here, what is the item's position? In this case, the item's position is still here, or more specifically, this one minus the half bar width. So let's put that in here. That's still the same. The y position is still the same here of x bottom minus 1. Put that in there. The radius is 10 pixels. Here you have the angle start, angle end. So what I'm going to do here is, well, counterclockwise will be true. This time it is true. But let's look at our angle. So if we're going to rotate in the canvas, the right rotation, the right part here, basically the 90-degree angle here is considered a 0. So 0, if I go down 90 degrees, that's 90. If I go again another 90 is 180. Then we have 270 and then 360. 360 is the full circle, but it always starts at the right side. So this means if I need to start from this point here and I'm going to basically have like that shape, I will have to start in this point as the left side. So 0 is the right side, 180 degrees is the left side, and then I need to go to 90 degrees to go down to the bottom. So basically from here to here is a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation from 180 to 90. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to say here, angle multiply by 180. That's why we have this angle constant here, because this makes it very easy for us. And then our ending angle will be 90. We're deducting. And this is the reason why we say counterclockwise is true, because we are going in the counterclockwise direction. So once I did that, I'm going to do another one. And that is basically from here, now we are 90 degrees, we're going to the 0 degrees here. So same logic, we're going to say 0, and then we say here 90. What you could do here, if it's 0, we could remove everything else as well, because that keeps it just shorter, but it's up to you if you want to do it. For now, I'll just leave it in there, and let's save this and see what the response is. And of course, we're getting very, very weird response here. So let's see what's going on, or what do we need to fix here. Alright, so let me just undo this. I'm going to say here, instead of fill, I'm going to say here stroke. I want to draw the lines first so I have a nice visual. Alright, so we're getting very weird response here, and I think I know why. Alright, so what we're going to do is we need to go here, and then it goes there, and then probably this line here is in an exact same position, but that is not what I want. what I want to do, of course, from there, I need to go here. So this should be, here should be somewhere the circle. So this must be not minus the half, but plus the half, because if not, we're still here. Save that, refresh. Alright, so we're getting something, but it looks like a trapezium, and I don't want that because of the radius here. So I need to deduct the radius. So what is the radius? The radius is 10. So what I can do here is for this, what I would like to do here, I need to go basically inside. So what is happening is basically, if this would be the corner, the radius is starting here and then it makes this circle. So I don't want that. That's basically the imagination what you need to have, what's happening here. So what I need to do is I need to say plus 10 to go more here, and then minus 10 to go up somewhere here in the corner to get this nice angle. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to say here minus the radius on the first arc, minus radius, and then, oh sorry, no, not minus, plus, because I want to go more to the right. Then for this is the y item, here we have minus 1, but then we also do again another minus radius. So if I save that, refresh, that looks way better, and that's exactly what I wanted. Let's do the same one for the other one. So what we're going to do here down, we can say here again, we can do here, instead of plus, I need to do negative radius, because I need to go more to the left. Then what we're going to do here is minus the radius, or let's do minus radius. Let's see. I'm not sure if that is correct. Oh, there it is. It does look nice. So that is the correct response. So once we have this, we can just remove all of these excess codes here. We have the closing pad that will connect basically this line with that line. Then I can say here, fill the shape. There we are. That looks wonderful. What I want to do now is just get the color that we have indicated here. Let's grab this color here to make it consistent. So we're going to say here, we can just do it here outside ctx.save, that should be the first one, and then ctx.fill_style will be equal to this. Save that, refresh, there we are. So now I can make this white. That looks much more appealing. And of course nothing here looks anymore here. You cannot see it because they're all blending in with the same color. I need to now multiply this to every one of them. So what I'm going to do here is to create a for each loop. And we can basically do that with every chart data set meta. So we're going to say here, or what we can do even more practical would be whatever the ticks are showing. And that is, if I do here console log, the X scale, save, refresh. Let me just show you so you have a visual again here in our object. I'm going down here, look at the ticks, and I'm just going here from every tick. I want to loop through it. If there would be lesser ticks on the scale, then it will recalculate it nicely. So I'm going to say here dot ticks. Then we say here dot, well, there we are done. Here we say here dot for each, and let's make this a for each loop right now. So then we're going to say here, this will be the tick, comma, index, function arrow expression, put that in here. Then I'm going to say cut this, put it in there, and then we can save this, refresh. All right, almost, because we're forgetting the index number. Index here, index here, index here, index here, save, refresh. There we are. Now we have these nice matching colors. We could, I don't like really this much, but there's a slight issue with this here and how to control this. I'm sure there's a command for it. I don't have the exact command, but I do have one here that we could play around with it. It's in the ticks. We just say a padding. So we just readjust the padding and give it maybe 6 pixels in padding so that it pushes a little bit up. But what will happen, the scale area becomes slightly bigger. By default this is 3 pixels, so it will be a bit bigger. Making it too big will not look appealing to push it in the center. So just consider that. However, this is it. That looks absolutely phenomenal.